Hello everybody, today we're talking about linear inequalities. We're talking about linear equations kind of, somewhat. Now we're going to talk about inequalities. We're going to talk about basic form, what they look like, graphing them on a number line, solving them, and then compound inequalities. For a review, inequalities are less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, you've all seen them. Okay, basic form. This is the basic idea here. Ax plus b is less than 0 or ax plus b is greater than 0. Really the only thing that's changing here is the sign. And if you're not sure, this is greater than, this is less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And it'll make sense to what these forms are doing when we get into solving some. So the first thing I want to do is graph some of these linear inequalities. X is less than 2, so here's how we do it. We're just going to start out real basic on a number line. Okay? Make sure we label 0. Alright? X is less than 2, so the next thing I need to go out is go out to 2. Okay? And make sure you're labeling everything. Now X is less than 2, so is 2 included? No, because it's not less than or equal to 2, it's just less than 2. So what we do is we put an open dot there, because 2 is not included. And x is less than that, so we're going to go to the left. Anything less than 2 will work. Graphing linear inequalities right there. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Again, mark 0. X is greater than or equal to -1, so we go to -1. Now this time, x is greater than or equal to, so this time we're going to have a closed dot. Okay, and since we're greater than, we're going to go to the right because all the values greater than -1 are to the right. Okay? Compound inequalities. These ones tend to confuse folks. Don't get confused with this. Okay? When we get into our quarter projects, this is what you're going to be dealing with. Okay? So let's go ahead and visit about this. These are basically bounds. What you're going to do is you're going to break it into two equations. -1 is less than x, and x is less than 2. Okay? So the x goes with this piece, and the x goes with this piece. Okay, so now we're just going to graph them all on the same number line. So we go to 0, we go out to 2, we go down to -1. Okay? X is less than 2, so that's an open circle going this way, right? And then x is greater than -1, so it's a closed circle going this way. Okay, now you don't need the arrow, but it's everything in between there. Oh, it's not equal to. Sorry, that should be an open circle there. So it's everything in between -1 and 2. Okay, now if you have or, it's a little different. Okay, it's already got it into two equations. So x is less than 2. Okay, so we're at 0. X is less than or equal to 2. So we go 1, 2. X is less than or equal to 2. And x is greater than 1. Okay, since it's or, it's going to extend in both directions. Okay, it's not going to stop at either end like here because this is an and. But in an or, they have to keep going in both directions. Okay, we'll get more into that here on the next slide. Solving these things. There's a couple tricks you need to know about. You're going to solve it just like a regular equation, except for one little thing. So if this were an equal sign here, just pretend it is. First thing we do is subtract 9, which we can do. 4x is less than 25 minus 9 is 16. Now we divide by 4. X is less than 4. Okay, so if we're going to graph that, let's go ahead and do it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, open circle, going left. Right? It's not equal to, so it's an open circle. We're less than 4, so we're going left. Now let's do this other one. Okay? Let's subtract x over. So I have 3 minus 2x is greater than or equal to negative 9. Now we'll subtract our 3 over. So negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 12. Okay? Now, here's the trick. If you divide by negative 2, x has to be less than or equal to positive 6. If you divide by a negative, if you divide or multiply by a negative, this sign has to switch. Notice it's going the other way. If you divide, or multiply by a negative, you must switch the sign, or switch the inequality. Not the sign, but the inequality. Switch the inequality. That's very important. Lots of people forget about that. Okay? So you got to check every single time whether you're dividing or multiplying by a negative number. It doesn't matter with subtraction, but it does matter with multiplication and division. And in class, I'll show you why. Okay? Compound inequalities. Now here's the same idea with bounds, except now we've just got equations. So what we're going to do is we're going to piece each thing together. So negative 1 is less than 2x plus 7. Okay? And then this piece. So the middle goes with both ends. 2x plus 7 is less than or equal to 19. Okay? Here we go. Now we just go ahead and solve. So we subtract 7 over, so I get negative 8 is less than 2x. Divide by 2, and it's a positive 2, so I don't need to switch the sign. So negative 4 is less than x. There's one piece. Now over here, subtract 7 over. 2x is less than or equal to 12. Divide by positive 2, so I don't have to switch the sign. X is less than or equal to 6. Now if I graph this, okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4 here. Open circle going this way, correct? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that one's a closed circle, and it's going left because it's less than. So it's everything in between because it's an and. It's written all as one statement. It'll tell you if it's an or. If you don't see or, it's an and you have to have both of them true at the same time. Okay? Now this one down here is an or, so we can just go to solving each piece. X is less than or equal to 5 if I subtract the 4 over. X is greater than 10 if I add the 3 over. Okay? So, here we go. We're at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Closed circle, and it's less than, so we're going this way. And then at 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's an open circle, and we're going to the right because X is greater than. Okay, I know I went through this kind of quick. Hopefully this makes some sense. We'll definitely talk about it again in class. Let's review basic form. You're just working with the greater thans, the less thans, all that stuff. Graphing them on a number line, hopefully that makes sense. When to use open circles, when to use closed circles, make sure you're labeling all your points. Solving them, if you divide or multiply by a negative, you have to switch the sign. And then compound inequality, solving different pieces. Okay, this was fast and furious. Bring questions with you to class, and I'll see you there.